Good evening, everybody. This is Mr. Clay here at Dysfunctional Culture.
And hello and good evening, everyone. This is Lady A with Mr. Clay.
How everybody doing? We're here for another installment of what it's like to be a correctional officer in a female prison.
It is wild, but it has its place. I have witnessed some things that seem, you know what? I have no words for it. I've witnessed people come in and they look really nice, pretty young ladies, and they get next to some of the other ladies who are way more manipulative, especially in an attempt to get them into the homosexual life. And the next thing I know, those ladies are cut up. They have tattooed the other woman's name on their face or other parts of their body, or they've cut themselves up horribly to the point they're just bleeding everywhere and have to be sent out to the hospital. I've even witnessed the aftermath of fights. They call it the lock in the sock. And they're swinging around. Next thing you know, it is blood everywhere, all over the walls. Or officers who don't know how to talk to people get their mouth blown out, period. Officers have been hit. They used to have the mop buckets with the metal ringer on it for the mop. And well, the officer was hurt very badly with that. We don't have the metal ones anymore.
Hold on. The metal ring, you talking about where you actually, that metal piece that you hook to the mop to?
Well, it's attached to the big buckets.
Okay.
So you're talking about warehouse size buckets.
Yeah, okay, got you.
So those kind.
Got you, okay.
Maintenance type. And then
right.
That piece that you can put the mop in and smash it.
Smash it.
That. They used to have the metal versions.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
They don't have the metal versions. It's rare to see a metal version.
So they will use them as weapons too?
They'll use anything as a weapon. There have even been times when they have utilized hot water and thrown it on people. That's why it is a rule that they can't warm up water in the microwave. But they can warm up water in the microwave because you might not see them at that moment in time. And they may either attack an officer or another inmate. That's why if they come to the desk to talk to you, they're not supposed to have anything in their hands.
Mm-hmm. What's the difference of how you guys attack or try to combat this situation in comparison when it happens to an inmate or when it happens to another officer?
Well, when I became an officer, there were real officers there, those who have been in the facilities for over 15, 20 years already. Those who had worked with men and those who had worked with women at the high level. Those people, you get on the radio and say you need assistance, boom, they're there like a magic trick. And you like to see them coming because back in the day, we had big, strong men. And the inmates knew this was not going to work out well once they saw them. So it was an automatic respect just on size alone, just on the history of other things that have occurred. When they show up, they don't play. You don't have that same fear when you see yard staff coming up. Now, I mean, the inmates will tell you that. Sometimes they're like, who coming? And that's not good when they don't have that same respect. And I mean, the whole times have changed. They don't want you to put your hand on the inmate anymore. So you have some officers have tasers, all officers have a form of mace. Well, that stuff doesn't work on everybody because if the adrenaline is high enough, mace is candy and the taser is just something to make them feel good because it doesn't do anything to them. The most important thing for safety inside a prison is your effective communication and respect. Those are the most important things. The worst of the worst know when they're being disrespected. The worst of the worst know when they initiated the disrespect and they treat you accordingly. But you just arbitrarily talk to people in a very hateful, mean, demeaning, disrespectful way. They sitting back in the cut and they're waiting for an opportunity, oftentimes. Or they'll put somebody up to help manipulate you and get you caught up in stuff that, oh well, what can you say? But the most important thing to remember is it can happen to you. As long as you believe that you can get got, that's going to reduce the probability of it happening to you because you already believe it.
Right.
For me, I can't imagine doing anything that's that demeaning to me because now you have to explain that to your family, your spouse if you're married.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, you can't get that back. Usually in a lifetime, when you hurt your level of self-respect, when you hurt it, or your character, you hurt it to a certain degree, oftentimes you don't get that back. You work a lifetime to get it back, and it'll take you a lifetime to get it back, which means you probably won't get it back.
Right.
At least not in that environment with those people. People are very unforgiving. But you can't worry about that. If you messed up, you messed up. So what you have to do is focus on, okay, well, I messed up then. I'm not going to keep messing up. You can't worry about other people. You really can't. But treating people respectfully is the key. Even with the worst of the worst. It is. Unless they just arbitrarily just don't like you because you just not right. And you have to remember, when you're in a facility, they have all day to watch you. That's all they do is watch you. They watch your responses to things. They watch what you do when you walk away. So if you're smiling, don't just drop that smile when you walk off. And I'm not telling anyone to be phony or be unreal, but if you're smiling and if you stop smiling, that comes across as disingenuous. So whatever you do, keep that same energy for a moment of time to avoid problems later. Because I can promise you, they watch every move you make. Every move you make. Now, you can inadvertently cause yourself problems just because of who you are. Just by doing the right thing sometimes can cause you a problem. I'll give you a perfect example.
Because you get into a habit and they...
And because you are who you are. You mean well, you mean right. You're not doing anything sexual. You are not doing anything that's illegal. But perception-wise, it can be manipulated.
Okay.
I'll give you a perfect example. There was a situation where an inmate was brought into a particular area and they needed to be searched. Well, the inmate didn't have on anything but this garment, this safety garment that they are using if they are on what they call a one-on-one, they're being observed.
Okay.
Because of their either suicidal ideations or homicidal ideations.
Okay.
The individual needed to be patted down. No one, they want you to wait for a nurse. That's not always feasible. If the person has something on them that could possibly be used as a weapon against themselves or somebody else, it is not prudent, nor is it wise to wait. So what was done was the officer called a female supervisor and another female officer, and then talked to the inmate who they had a slight rapport with, but they knew that inmate was mentally challenged. So they put on their rubber gloves and they spoke to the inmate continuously of why they were talking to him, reminding them who they were, and letting them know, I'm not there to hurt you, but I'm here to make sure you don't hurt yourself. So I'm going to have to touch your breast and lift it up. And they had a pencil under there.
Mm-hmm.
Had I waited and the person hurt themselves, then they would have tried to blame the officer. So instead, I did the right thing by not being alone, get the necessary people around to watch as it occurred, to avoid that inmate from causing self-harm. But those are the things you have to, the rules are the rules, but the rules cannot be law if the rule will cause a problem. And there are times the rules can cause a problem. That had I waited, the rule could have been a problem. If I never touched her, and it only takes a moment to hurt yourself. So had you come in, you say the inmate needs to be pat down. My thinking is, why didn't you do it then? You females too. But you're telling me that you told me and it's heard. So I know I can't deny I didn't at least hear it or wasn't in the vicinity where the probability of me hearing it was great. I wasn't doing something different where I could have been distracted when it was being said to me. I'm there, you're looking at me, you're talking to me, you're directly telling me. So I can't, I couldn't reasonably deny the conversation. So in the event, I waited for the possibility of a nurse to come assist me, and then you harm yourself, the rule means nothing. Not at all. Because then you're going to have, what's the law, a reasonable standard? So reasonably, it would be said that you could have done this regardless of what the rule said. So I did what I thought made sense. But that's the kind of little stuff that can cause you a problem, even though what you did was the best thing to do. Oh, but the rules say, let's make some sense here. The rules say a lot of things. That's why you don't get a ticket for everything that you do from the police. The word discretion comes in. And you don't want to be charged with deliberate indifference. Mm-hmm. So you have to be wiser than the rules. The rules are not all inclusive.
Right. And they just guidelines for you to just...
Bottom line.
Just for you to say, okay, this is just for me to say, to give me a baseline of what to do. That's really what they are. But
that's all.
But the problem is you're a free thinker, so you're able to kind of take the rules and make them work for you.
Absolutely.
And the majority of the society is just pretty much, and that's what they say, I'm just following orders.
And what you can do when you just follow orders, what you do is highlight the foolishness of the orders that are given to you.
There you go. I totally agree with that.
And there are some times when if you just follow the order, it's going to backfire on you before it backfire on the people that told you to do it.
Yes, absolutely.
So what you do is when you just going to follow the order, every time somebody tells you something, on this day and at this time, you conveyed to me that this is how I should handle A, B, and C. And then you send it. Is this correct? Or is there something else I need to understand? And oftentimes, and I've had this occur, instead of sending me back an email, you call me on the phone. So then you have to send another email. At this such a time, you called me on the phone in this particular area I was in, and you said A, B, and C. So my understanding is you want me to do this, this, this. They'll call you on the phone. Every time they call you, eventually they'll leave you alone. Mm-hmm. Because either you lying or I'm lying. If I'm sending you an email,
why are you calling
why you
me?
Keep calling me? That right there implies, infers, intimates that there's some dishonesty going on here.
I'll agree 1,000% with that. Yes.
But as many things that can happen, again, like I said before, you're in a human zoo with people who want to get out, who are pacified and satisfied with staying there. Some who want to be rehabilitated, so they're utilizing the tools, what few there may be, to gain that. Mm-hmm. Because rehabilitation is up to you. Nobody can rehabilitate you. And then you got those who making the system work for them. Mm-hmm. You have to recognize that, and you have to be honest. You don't run nothing. You really don't. Because if they all choose not to do what you want them to do, now what you gonna do? What are you going to do? So you have to recognize that you really don't run anything. I mean, look at what happens when there are riots. It takes a minute to get that up under control because you don't really run it. And for you to get it under control, you got to run here, run there, get this, get that, and then come back. Right. You know how many things can happen before you're ready? Right. Unless you already have a team that's established and ready to go all the time. You don't have that. Mm-hmm. You got to get that and get them together. So, yeah, but I've seen many things. Yes, I mean, one lady being chased with a mop on the grounds, one escaping one housing unit, run into another, but you don't run them because they can't go anywhere. So you wait till they get where they're going. Then you take care of it as need be or whatever's necessary to be done. But it has, again, I say, it's a humbling experience. It has its ups, it has its downs. I do say this, it is very mentally draining and physically challenging.
Okay.
Because everything in law enforcement at every level, I'm talking about from your local police, your local jail, your prisons, your FBI's, your CIA's, everything is based on what might happen,
Well,
not necessarily what is happening.
Well, and police is really one of the biggest psychopaths and alcoholic fields it is out there.
All
so,
the way up. In every form of law enforcement, alcoholism is the greatest abuse.
It's very popular.
Yeah. I don't believe that if you are a decent human being of integrity and of honesty and worldly morality, that you can function in an environment that is wrong on levels administratively for too long and it not bother you. And you not need an outlet because you see what's not right.
That's interesting.
And you know it is not right, but you want me to continue where you do that. I'm not going to do that because that's not who I am. I could be wrong in feeling that way. Excuse me, the word feeling is not correct. I believe that way. And it has nothing to do about over caring, but they are human beings coming to a neighborhood near you. They're not all doing life. Not at all. They're not all doing life. They do get out. So what do you want? You want somebody you need to kill now? Or somebody that you can have a decent conversation with and say congratulations because you're doing better. And because they think differently. And because they choose to stay away from the element that got them in trouble in the first place. Or that was an influence on their behavior and thought process.
They've learned to conquer that demon within them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So when you work in an environment like that, you need I suggest therapeutic intervention throughout the process because it's an unnatural environment. And I don't believe I think times have changed to the point that working there for long periods of time is not okay. I believe 5 years is good enough and then either go somewhere else or move up. Because it's an environment that you don't know something's going wrong until you leave. People around you notice it, but I don't believe you notice it. In corporate America, you always knew the person that was on the short end and about to blow.
Right.
Most people knew who that individual was.
True. They gave you signs.
All the time.
All the time. Yes, they did.
But when you're in such a negative environment that seems okay while you're there because you can laugh and joke, that's not the person you don't know who you're dealing with.
Got you. Yeah.
And when women, if you already have problems outside in your personal life, this is your control factor here. And you can tell because of how you interact that you don't have any control outside of here. So now you're going to be on the extreme in here. And nobody pays that kind of thing any attention. You, the officer, you know something wrong with the other officer. But you're not a psychiatrist. But that's not what my job title says. It says I'm a counselor, I'm a social worker, and I'm all these things rolled up into one. Even when the prisoners want to talk to you, it could be just a way to distract you from something else that's going on. But if I choose that over you talking to me and you go in and commit suicide, then that's a problem. Because you asked to talk to me.
Right.
If it's anything violent, always somebody coming back to tell you. So you tell me, what do you choose? To have a conversation with the individual? Because they be trying to take up your time. But now you can look at them on the camera and you can see who's moving.
So in its own special way, having a conversation with them and can be used as preventive maintenance.
Absolutely. If they are willing, especially you listen to what they're telling you. And it's stuff, I mean, when you are a woman talking to a woman, tears mean nothing to you because they the biggest distractor.
Mm-hmm.
Even the manner in which they come, because it's not so much as what they're saying, it's what their body is doing. That's what you pay attention to. Because the eyes, when you are telling the truth about what your mouth is saying, your eyes go along with it. But when your eyes don't meet the words, then there's something else going on. Either you're trying to distract the officer or you're lying just to be in there talking because you're really trying to case and do other things.
Mm-hmm.
Or you are about to get in some trouble, so you escape by coming talking to the officer. And I believe that officers should be mature enough, understanding enough to listen. Just recognize oftentimes it's to distract you. Oftentimes it's a distraction. But how about you already don't have enough people? You're desperately short. I mean, desperately short. So how much is one person supposed to do with 90 people?
How long does it take a typical officer to figure that point out right there? That they're distracting you, that they're using you.
When I came in, I would say within 90 days or less.
You know it. You can pick it up immediately.
And some of them, the day they start in this facility.
You can pick it
because
up.
Because the way they come from, because of the level of maturity, and this is not the only job they ever had.
Right.
Especially with a lot of people that grew up in the city, they already on the 5 already. They understand that. Now, I don't think they get it. The breed that's coming in now, I don't think they get it. I don't. Because of the way they interact, I don't think they get it. There's a such thing as called the anatomy of a setup. Like I mentioned to you in a conversation we've had, the moment you think you can't get you got already. And I don't care who you are. So, you have people, yeah, they bringing in drugs. I mean, I don't know who they are. I ain't never done it. I'm too terrified. And plus, again, I got to explain that to my family. This is why I'm coming home every day.
Right.
This is why I'm not leaving, because I did something that stupid.
Right.
And the strong possibility of them putting you in prison.
Right.
And then you're going to be in prison with them. Ain't nobody doing that. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. But why would I it's too much. It's too much to do something illegal while you're there. It does happen. It has happened. Well, you got enough overtime to avoid that. You can work. Come on. You can make more money with the overtime, and then learn how to make money doing other things. See, like I said, that's a different vibe of people. If that's the world you come from, if that's what you're around out in the world, that's a non-issue for you to try it while you're in there. Especially if it brings. One of the inmates was telling me how much money people can make off of one little thing they bring in there. I'm like, are you serious? Because I don't want to know where y'all get the money from. How do y'all? I don't want to know that kind of stuff. I don't. That's
because you're responsible for it when you know it.
And I don't want to know. I don't want to know how you do it. I know it's done. So if I find the drugs, that's what my responsibility is, right there. But to know your procedures no. To me, when you know too much about what they do, what you do?
You're responsible for what you know.
And then I want to know why you know it so well.
You're responsible for what you know.
And I tell them all the time, don't tell me, you're supposed to be the drug queen pin or drug king pin. I don't want to know. I don't want to know what you're doing. But if I find it, I'm going to have to write you up. I'm not going to look past it if I see it.
Right.
But, if I know this is what they said about this person, then y'all know it too. So why the person even where they are? I've always thought that they should have some type of agreement that when you have inmates that you have a lot of problems with, that you can send them to like Chicago, New York, Arizona, California, different breed of female prisons, down south. And whoever's doing really, really well down there, give them an opportunity to come up here.
Because it would definitely be a culture shock from one of them leaving from up here, going from Scott, and then going down to Arizona to that prison where they be having their ass outside with them pink suits on and 120 degrees.
Yes, it
That'll
would.
straighten you up.
Real quick, you'll appreciate what you have.
That'll straighten you
Yeah.
up. Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think that's a part of rehabilitation for those who are on the extreme on their behavior.
Mm-hmm.
How many times are we going to keep fighting with this and talking when you know they don't care?
Right.
And that creates the probability of an officer getting hurt.
Mm.
I mean, it's just so many other things that can be done. And then you have to do your officers correct as well. You have to treat them right. You can't talk to them any kind of way. Don't get me wrong. Nothing justifies anybody talking to anybody any kind of way. But you the supervisor. You can't judge me the same as you. You a step up. You're supposed to bring people up to your level, not come down to mine.
So you would come in and call them motherfuckers all kind of stupid motherfuckers and shit like that.
Well, I've never heard them do that to somebody's face now. I can't say they didn't do that back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, they tell you off, but they didn't write you up. Now they just write you up.
Write you up, got you.
Which is poor managing.
It is.
That's exceedingly poor.
It is.
Because if you think
because
something is done wrong, why don't you talk to the individual first? You have nothing in your notes where you went to this individual and talked to them.
Now you just looking for things. When you just sitting at your desk like that, you just looking for things. Now you ain't out here seeing really how this works.
Well, you don't care.
You don't
because
care.
so
Exactly.
much is on
you
that you're going through the process.
Yep, you don't care.
And that's unfair to the people. And then if say for instance, you have an individual that you've never had certain things happen for the whole time you've known them, one incident come up, and now you want to kill them.
Mm-hmm.
Really? That's what we do now? And then you have a brand new individual just wreak havoc, and you'll keep trying to get them back. But then you have your officer with a lot of time, you have one little incident, and you want to get rid of them. Is something wrong with that?
That sounds like corporate America, for real. That's exactly what they do.
But back in the day, when we were there, it wasn't quite that bad.
Not true, it wasn't that bad.
It got that bad. It did not start off that bad because I remember presidents being kicked to the curb before the employees.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that. I remember when I interacted with them. They'd get rid of a president a whole lot faster. And then the whole environment started changing. And then that's when it all went downhill. You see, everything gone now. Everything is gone. I mean, when the culture changed to I'm gonna get them versus I'm working with them, it all went left. That's why I believe you have so much violence in workplaces, because people got the post office mentality.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and being in corporate America, they ain't the most kindness in doing things either.
This is true.
So because when we was at IBM and they let us go, when we was at AT&T and they let us go and we transitioned over to IBM, they came to us and they gave us 3 days to make a decision. Y'all either accept IBM's offer or y'all are considered fired. You get no unemployment. You get no back pay. You give nothing.
That's not a decision. That's a threat.
Hold on. After telling us that, after we had 3 days to say that, then said to the rest of y'all that's going to be here for the rest of the year, we going to have a beautiful Christmas. Good night.
Oh, my goodness.
Hold on. Keep in mind now. Keep in mind. They had just fired the previous director over the department, who was an IT guy, to bring in, wait for it, a bean counter, an accountant. They put an accountant over the IT department to get rid of the IT department on purpose.
Amazing. Not shocking, but amazing.
So they do all of this and everywhere they go. So this is just a template that they use.
But it's stupid.
It's stupid. Wow.
It's real stupid because you really running yourself in the ground. And not only that, I still say the DRAM Act should be used. When you work people all these hours every day, it's a form of slavery. It is. It is a form. When you start really looking at the work rules, the laws federally, it's a form of slavery. There's no way that you should be working people 12, 14, and 16 hours. That also, and it's a medical fact, that decreases capabilities
Absolutely,
greatly.
yes.
Not only that, it kills people because your body does not have a time to really rest and heal itself. And you're not getting enough rest for your mental stability. And people don't believe that. And the older you get, the more likely you might be to lose your mind temporarily until you can get some rest. And I'm telling people what I know to be a fact. That's when you start having some serious problems. That's when you start having people doing violent things in the workplace. And then everybody wants to take their hand off of it. But you can't. You caused this. That's no different than with the DRAM Act. And I go out there and had an accident and you knew I was drunk when I left and you gave me another drink. You knew I was tired because I was there for 16 hours yesterday, 14 hours the day before, 16 hours 2 days before then, and you want me for 16 now, and I work 12 tomorrow. Really?
It's already a wicked industry to begin with because they have to have. I seen an interview with it, and they took it off of YouTube. It was an interview with a Jewish owner of a private prison, and he said they must keep their prisons at 130% occupancy at all.
That is correct. That is those are contractual words.
Yes.
And I try to tell people all the time, you don't want private prisons. And I always give the example, be careful of dismissing what you see on TV shows. They are there to desensitize you so that when they do it for real, you won't pay it any attention.
They deserved it. They shouldn't have been doing what they was doing.
Without you knowing the whole story.
Absolutely.
If you don't like being accused of things without people hearing your side, be careful doing it to somebody else. But like I told, there was an episode on the have and the have-nots where he said, I got so sick of his son doing stuff that he carried him to the prison and put him in there. Because it was a private prison and he was a judge. However, there was this other person who was kind of vindictive. Well, she put Big Bubba in the cell with him. Need I say more? Mm-hmm. You don't have the inmates and anybody else that goes in there. They won't have the protections they think they'll have when they go to a private prison. Because who you think care and they paying $9 an hour?
Exactly.
Or $12 an hour when the people over here making $30.
Exactly.
Who you think care? And not only that, you have to understand, people die working in facilities. They die. Women get raped working in men's facilities. All men, you can die.
They do not want to discuss what you just said right there is the amount of women that's getting raped in men's prisons.
And yes, the officers.
Yes.
Yeah.
They don't want to discuss that. You are absolutely correct. I be finding this stuff and be having so much going on. I don't be keeping these bookmarks and stuff, but you are absolutely correct. Yes. And I be trying to show people this, and they be thinking I be out here just bizarre world.
Well, see, not only that, there was a time when men and women and children were all put in the same prisons. Excuse me, but kids getting raped, women getting raped, everything.
Modern day homeless shelters.
It was awful. It was awful.
That's what homeless shelters do. I heard that about homeless shelters. The same thing.
Yep. And so then you put women in the prisons for the women. They got the long skirts on because of when, back in the 1800s and stuff, early 1900s, they wear skates and all that. But you had a different kind of prisoner too.
Right.
And then they had the men in the prisons. And, we discussed that once before. Now you got the women in the prisons. But it don't matter. You still can die. And people that is so small-minded. Oh, you just work in a women's prison. They kill somebody, boo.
Thank you.
They can be serial killers as well.
Thank you.
They kill men, they kill women, they in there for
They
sexual
babies,
misconduct.
they
Yes.
they
cut people
doctors,
up,
everything.
like the lady that cut her son up and treated him like Hansel and Gretel.
The white woman who just, because she couldn't afford to put her mom in a nursing home, she just killed her mom.
Oh my goodness.
You know, I keep saying this ain't no gender problem. This is a nation problem.
It is.
You know, I mean, we got too many people that's every time I bring this up to people, they be talking about all the mental issues. I said, nobody really wants to discuss what's really going on. We are really and truly operating under a devil's system.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, you mentioned the time, and I was just in here one day, and this pandemic has really opened my thought process up, right? And when they said you had to be 6 feet apart, I started to really wonder, why is the number 6 such a big deal? Because it's 6 feet apart, Six Flags Entertainment, then you got death 6 feet under. My thoughts opened up a little further. If we dealing in 666 and that's the devil, okay, then time is the devil. We got 24 hours in a day. 2 plus 4, 6. We got 60 minutes in an hour. 6 plus 0, 6. We got 60 seconds in a minute. 6 plus 0, 6. This time structure is nothing but if we going off of 666, which is supposed to be what this is the devil system.
Well, I mean, I know I can't tell people what to believe, but scripturally, yeah.
Yes.
He's the power that be. Now, the Holy Spirit is here, keeping it at bay from taking completely over. But that's just for now. Because what we see now is a shadow of what's going to come later on. This is going to get worse and worse and worse. It's going to have some few good spots, but it's going to continue to get worse.
Yeah.
And people are so full of hate and evil doing, creator of evil things. It is what it is. You know, and it's so, we're bombarded with stuff every day, and it's always negative. You rarely ever see positive. Oh, this person did this kid did this, but everything is bad. They never show you the good news.
And also something with that is people always talk about choices, but we got too many choices. Do we really need all of these choices?
Keep you confused.
That's it. That's all it does.
Keep you discombobulated. I tell people
mental
that about
illness because you always wanting more. You're always desiring more. You're always comparing. You're desiring. You're never satisfied with anything you receive.
Well, I tell people that even about movies. Be careful of what you let your kids look at. Just because it's animation doesn't mean it's something for a child.
Never is.
Not only that, even from a race standpoint, and this is not an absolute, but it's something to consider. I believe I've mentioned it to you before. When you look at movies produced by white people, there's a lot of evil in them. They show who they are.
Absolutely.
Even in the movies, the evil that they do.
Yes.
Versus you look at a black movie, it's usually about overcoming. It's usually about getting to love. It's usually about reaching beyond. It's usually about leaving what's bad and let me go this way because I don't have to choose that. Those are the things that are there. It's two different mindsets. And it's like I said, I would never say anything is absolute because I don't particularly care about generality. So if I've said anything that's perceptionally a generality, excuse me for that because I don't like doing that.
Well,
know all of anybody or know all of anything.
Yeah, and to kind of piggyback off what you just said was, this is why in their movies, in their stories, they have to have, that's why it's always a moral to the story, because they ain't got none. It has to be given to them. It's always that.
Well, this is one of the all-time examples I always utilize. Do you remember, I think it was Molly the sheep?
Yeah.
That they were supposed to be cloning?
Yeah.
Nobody remembers this, But there was a doctor who was specialty in cloning, who stayed on an island owned by Bill Gates that had no jurisdiction from the United States. But he was a big-time clone doctor.
Dr. Mesler?
I don't recall the man's name, but he was a big-time clone doctor. They talked about that one time, and I just happened to hear it. Never heard anything else about it. Never. However, when it first came out, when they first talked about it, the people were in an uproar. Then the remake of the movie, The Island of Dr. Moreau, came out with handsome Val Kilmer and still nice-looking Marlon Brando.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they made that movie a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
People don't realize that's the kind of stuff Hitler was doing, in the U.S.
The
was part
boys
of
of
that.
Argentina.
But U.S. were part of it. No, that was I'm talking about the original Island of Dr. Moreau.
Okay, but I know the boys of Argentina
Absolutely.
was that too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So then you have this movie come out, which is what they were doing on the island, and all of a sudden you don't hear too much about the cloning anymore. It kind of calmed down. Same thing with the movie Eraser with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Mm-hmm.
How he had all these little toys that you could see inside the house. Okay, people don't realize after that those toys started being utilized.
Exactly.
Because when they looking for a body, they don't have to have no dogs. They got things that can look down in there to see if there's a body in there.
Yes.
But see, I desensitized you because
Yes.
first you dismiss the reality of it. But when they show up, it's no big deal to you.
Yes, absolutely. You pay attention to, and it's interesting and I have to be fine. I gotta read and find all of this stuff because I had so much stuff on my previous computer. I'm talking because I'm into science and nature and all that, so I keep all this stuff. I had where in Cleveland they were showing the facility where they keep all of the embryos. I'm like, so is this really where they're doing the LeBron James?
Either that or they or they're getting the stem cells. Or both.
I'm going to say both because if you look at a lot of these athletes' feet, have you ever paid attention to how their feet look?
I guess I'm more of looking at how things happen to people, like with Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, did he really die in an accidental helicopter crash?
Well,
a helicopter he been flying for how long?
Well,
and never a problem. Gonna say so the pilot, he did something wrong.
My question was with Kobe Bryant was always this: who was his business partners? That was always my question. Look at his feet. This is LeBron James' feet.
What's wrong with the things?
This nigga's a clone. That's what's wrong with. Look at his feet. I ain't gonna say he's a clone. Look at that. Look at that. Look at his feet though. Now this is his feet.
That's a mess.
Hold on. How you spell Phelps? P-H-E-L. Look at his feet.
Those are feet?
Yes. Look at his feet, huh? Aquaman. Real life Aquaman.
I'd heard that about him before, but I'd never seen it.
Yeah. Yeah. Look at this now. Real life Aquaman. I be tripping on this, right? I be just watching stuff and it be out of my.
I've seen hers before. They look a mess.
Oh,
yeah,
her feet is disgusting. Gail feet is disgusting too. I think Steph Curry feet is even disgusting.
Oprah should have had that taken care of.
You ain't lying.
You don't look like
See, Steph Curry feet. I think his feet is bad too. I and took all his off and trying to cover his with his wife's. Yeah, his feet is bad too. It's another athlete. I don't think it's Kevin Durant, but it's another one. Feet disgusting. It's like, what is they doing to these Negroes' feet?
Yeah, but I've seen Oprah's before. She needs to. Yeah, Oprah needs to fix that.
Mm-hmm. I think it might even been Taraji Penson feet messed up too.
She has a great big toe. Her big toe is real
she
big.
do got a big. Yeah, she do. Yeah. Regina King might got some bad. She might got a big toe like that too. I think. Or she got a corn or something.
I know Taraji does because I remember that in a episode I saw her in. I forgot what I was watching, And they kept putting the camera on it. No, it wasn't Empire. But they kept putting the camera on it. I thought it was funny.
Okay, yeah. And it's a trip to sit to and just my looking at stuff. I was looking at the cover of Hustle and Flow, and it just took me to like to see that to Empire. It's like, wow, they showing you that if your hustle is hard like this out in the streets, this is what you can do. I'm like, what a vision for young black kids. What a way to fuck their mind up.
Yeah. Because really and truly, Taraji has to keep working. Cause it ain't like Taraji, a $20 million actress.
She has to keep working.
And she's a darn good actress, but she'll tell you in a minute.
Okay.
I'm always looking. She said, people always say they see me everywhere. Yeah, because I got to get paid.
Okay, think about this. That role that she played on, you forget that that's Taraji P. Henson on Empire. As much as I don't like that and care for it, you forget that that is her.
That means she did a good job in the role.
Okay, you totally forget that that is her.
Yes.
She really
embodied cookie.
For real. Okay, if that's Jennifer Aniston, that girl getting $200 million an episode.
Yes, she would. Yep.
And winning every award that the TV's gonna give her.
This is true. But somebody else made a observation of that nature too. Oh, it was with singing. Tank talks about that song Sam Smith sang.
Yeah.
He said, now, if I sang that same song, you wouldn't hear it everywhere like that. And you know what? There's proof to that. Adele's song, and then Joe did it too.
And then Joe, yup.
And Joe did a beautiful job, but you didn't hear it like you heard it when Adele did it.
How can Simply Red win a Grammy for a song he didn't write, but the original songwriter didn't even get nominated? It's Only Love doing this thing. Barry White, he wins a Grammy for that. And Barry White don't even get nominated for it. But he wins a Grammy for remaking somebody else's song.
Hey, Luther did it all the time.
I mean...
But I understand where you're coming from with that, though, yeah.
No matter who does it, that blows my mind because it's like, how dare you not appreciate the original? That's really a slap in the face. But I understand that, they in that industry. And
yeah, but no, because Eminem does that. I'll give him that. Eminem always give credit where credit due. He's not the only one, but when you said that, he was the first person that came to mind.
And you should, and I'm just saying it because of these younger rappers. They don't want to give these older rappers no credit. And
At all.
And then it's like without them, you have who teaching y'all? No other industry, nobody else does that but black people.
Well, that's why they talk about it, the ones that are smart enough, they talk about the females talk about Millie Jackson. Because she was doing what y'all were doing before y'all were thought of. That stuff y'all, and there was another blues rapper that was, she wasn't a rapper, there was another blues singer that was doing it even worse.
Before her.
In the 20s.
Yeah, before her, yes.
I mean, she make Megan Thee Stallion look like a church girl. That woman was so bad back in the 20s. She was horrible. The stuff she
exactly.
said, it was bad.
Yes. I mean, because that's just like even with, we act like, and I remember Blowfly, Rudy Ray Moore. Oh, yeah. I remember all of that stuff. Red Fox albums.
Yep. The blue comedians.
Yeah. You all that stuff. So it's just, we've always had it. It's always been an underbelly in our community. I guess now it's just because the world has embraced it.
Yeah. However, it was really supposed to be where it was.
Where it was, an underbelly in the community.
Yes, it was. It was because even with 2 Live Crew, I heard them long before they got popular.
Absolutely.
But it was supposed to stay where
they had offspring groups before they got popular. We knew about their Poison Clan, and I can't think of the other groups.
Because of studio work, I had heard 2 Live Crew long before they got out. But again, that stuff is supposed to stay where it is. It's not supposed to be
my cousins, my aunt was dating this guy that was in the YBI. They went to New York to go get some drugs. They came back and he handed me a tape. Check this tape out. It had all of the rap shit that was coming out 2-3 years later. I had all Eric B for President, Go See the Doctor, Cool Mo D, Freaks Come Out at Night. All of this is on one CD, and this stuff comes out to 2 years later. I had all of this on a tape now. I'm talking about, I'm making copies, selling it, because.
But that's why when they die, they got all this catalog still left.
And no money.
Yep.
And no money. And see, and that goes to also with me reading about the Harlem Renaissance. And I was actually found it very interesting, because I wanted to, wow, all of this great, what made us so great and all this. But come to find out, even despite all the greatness that we did, we were still not poor, because the Jews financed the whole Harlem Renaissance. We don't even finance our own work.
Well, and some of that was do or die too.
True that.
Because, like I said, Bumpy Johnson and him and Lucky Luciano kept a lot of things from being worse than what they were.
Now,
Bumpy Johnson was the only one that ever did anything and didn't die doing it. He died on his own.
I'm gonna have to pull up and get his name, the gentleman that actually started the numbers. If I'm correct, if he wasn't West Indian, he was Jamaican. He might have been West Indian though, but he worked in the New York Stock Exchange, and just based upon
he was a janitor.
Yes, based upon what the stocks was doing is how he determined the numbers. And come to find out, is they sideways mentioned it. He's the one that financed Madam C.J. Walker when she got her straight.
Okay.
See, because they mentioned the numbers, and he was the man back then. So I just connected the dots, because they didn't say that this how she got her money. They just mentioned that she was running in the numbers. I'm like, oh.
But that's how a lot of people
That's how they all got their money.
Because, now, anybody who haven't heard this, I would suggest them to listen to it. And it has Lorenz Tate, Lawrence Fishburne, and the Candace off of The Have and the Have Nots, Mekhi Phifer, and some other big names. And it's called Bronzeville.
Bronzeville.
Yes, because there really was a place called Bronzeville. I believe it was in Chicago. And it's worthwhile listening to. It's great. And it's only audio. So I would suggest anybody who haven't heard it to listen to it. They did 2 seasons of it. It's great, but it's similar to what you're referring to. We had our own mobsters.
Exactly.
But they were all about trying to help the area. Even when you watch that movie that had Denzel in it when he was playing that particular guy, Bumpy Johnson gave that guy, because the character at the beginning of the movie that Clarence Williams III played, that he was the character of Bumpy Johnson that gave Denzel his star.
Exactly.
It's a little different when you see us doing these things. And not only that, Bumpy Johnson was supposed to be protecting Malcolm X the day he got killed, because they used to be his security. And Malcolm was like, never mind. Never mind.
Interesting.
Well, Dick Gregory said that Malcolm called him, and he told him,
yeah.
You get ready to die. I ain't coming up there.
Because he said he got a phone call. Yeah. Somebody told him not to go up there.
Yeah. He said they getting ready to kill you.
I remember seeing Dick Gregory say that.
They said that, they just got those men out of prison.
And they got to pay them.
Yeah, they do, because they were wrongly convicted, because Dick Gregory said that the bullets came from up above.
Exactly.
They didn't come from straight in front of him. They gave them blank shots. But those were blanks that they had.
Yeah, I seen Dick Gregory say that too. Yeah, that they gave that the shots came from above.
But when you try to explain these things, like you try to convey knowledge to people, nobody, oh, there ain't nobody done that. What makes you think that can't happen?
The gentleman that what you call them in the press? What are they? Black reporter.
Oh,
That interviewed Malcolm
I
X.
remember him. I was like, ugh. That's the one I'm referring to. I just thought he was a hot mess. Little round-headed guy.
Not Alex Haley. Damn, what is his name?
There's stuff about him too, in that book. But that's why
It
it's
ain't
so
Joe
important
Walker.
for us to read.
It ain't Joe Walker. What the fuck is his name?
It's important for us to read and to know as much about ourselves as humanly possible. Know the Lord and know yourself.
Bam, here you go. This is this fucker here. Louis Emmanuel Lomax. That's his ass right here. He worked with the federal government, okay? He's an FBI agent. He was the one that told the FBI we should interview Malcolm X. He's the one who wanted to put Malcolm X on to put the spotlight on Malcolm X. They picked Malcolm X on purpose. I got the FBI documents. I was reading that shit and was floored. This motherfucker right here.
Louis Emmanuel Lomax.
Let's do this. Let's do. Oh shit. So they got.
Like I said, people don't realize how important it is to investigate. And then it helps you understand some things that are already in motion.
Yeah, exactly.
And it starts giving you some understanding.
That's his ass, Louis Lomax. That's him. That's this bastard. I think this is probably the interview with him with Malcolm X right there. This is it, I think. That's this bastard. That's his ass. CIA agent, FBI agent.
Something has to really be wrong with you
Boulay.
to sell people out
Okay.
that look like you, knowing what we've been through and what we're going through. You have to be a very weak and cowardly human being.
Well, my reading and understanding of the Boulay, the black Boulay, is that they want to kill the nigga, which I understand, and I'm pro for. But in the midst of them killing the nigga, they want to also show the white man and see we these new niggas. Bill Cosby in the Cosby Show, we the new niggas. So they want to remove the old niggas and the level of acceptance. So that's what my understanding of when I read about the Boulay. And so this thought process was, let's get rid of that old nigga. He could be an issue because he still worked for the king. And that's the thing, it's so many of us that's still working for the king.
It's pitiful. That's all I can say.
Yeah, it
It's
is,
pitiful.
you know. I mean, because, did you see that post I did with Reverend Al Sharpton, where he just bought, his foundation just bought the jet?
No.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's something too we have to look at. Our so-called leaders, so-called people. What are they really doing, and what have they really done? What have they accomplished? For real, for real. Other than bring attention to stuff.
That's it. Look at him. This is his jet. He got him a jet now. Big bucks and private planes. This is the people that's being put in front of us. We ain't saying that's who we want. No, we want him. Take this person here.
We haven't had a real one since Malcolm. That's why they don't talk about him.
Well,
That's why they want you to divert to Martin about everything. They don't talk about Huey. They don't talk about Malcolm. They don't talk about Stokely.
Well, I mean, you know, in reality, though, did we protect them?
No.
I mean, so...
Well, that's because people believe the lie. They believe the lie what the oppressor told them about who they were, without knowing facts about it.
This gets back to who we've been listening to right here. As we see, this is who we've been listening to. So when you listen to, and he's admitted that I done worked for the federal government and told and busted on the mob. He didn't admit that. That's been admitted. He admitted that. Did you see that on the interview? Yeah, he's admitted that. They even, after he admitted it, they showed him the clip. First he lied. Then they showed him the clip. Then he had to say, oh yeah, that was when I turned on the mob, blah, 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 blah. They came to me and just was asking me some questions, trying to clean the shit up. No, nigga, you snitched. This was your reward. This is your reward. Job well done. Job well done.
But that goes back to what I said. This is why it's important to read. This is why it's more important to look beyond what's being told to you. Because you just can't go by that. You don't own enough, and then you're not in the right circles enough to just go by what you're told. You have to investigate beyond that. And if sometimes, just use your head.
Yeah. My uncle always told me this. Follow the money.
All the time, every day.
Keep it simple. He said, follow the money. He said, you follow the money, then you see a man. He said, a man will show you his priorities based upon what he spent his money on.
That's right. That is very true.
And as you see, and his logic will be, and I understand that logic too, his logic will be, well, I'll be having to be across town, different meetings on different sides of the country at different, so
how were you getting there before?
That would be my next question. Well, how was that possible before you got this jet? So what changed now that you got, now you can be nine instead of you having 2 meetings, now you can do 4?
I say just take a flight the day before. You get that just fine.
I mean, because a plane is maintenance, right? It do require some maintenance, don't it?
I rent it instead of buy it.
It do. You got friends, I'm quite sure they got a plane. Man, let me borrow your plane so I can go back.
Jay-Z let you fly. Ask Kevin Hart.
I'll put some gas in it. I'll put some gas. I'll make sure your gas is right back on point. Because I'm going across blah, 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 blah. I'm making this, blah, 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 blah. Boom, you right back. No, I don't need nothing to eat because I'm in and out. It's just that simple. But no, because I got to let my nuts hang, I'm going to go get me a plane. Because I got to let Creflo Dollar that your donation nuts ain't as big as my donation nuts, okay? And I got to let you niggas on YouTube who getting all these donations that my donations nuts bigger than yours.
It's sad, really. That's all
I mean, really, though. It's sad. What else can it be? I don't see nothing else but that. It's just about letting your nuts hang.
Because you are not any more busy than you were yesterday before you got
at all. So now,
what, you're 80 years old?
So now it's important for you and your young wife, which I ain't mad at you for that either, but now it's important for you and your young wife to get where y'all got to go immediately. Y'all can't wait.
Like you've been doing for 50 years. Truly amazing.
Now you can't wait now. Now you in a rush. You done got 80 years old, now you in a rush.
Well, I don't know. 80, you probably ought to be in a rush. I mean, how much longer do you have?
Oh, cut it out. Stop it.
I mean, just a thought.
Yeah, I agree with you, but your body, your mind say I can still move at 25, but that body ain't gonna be, okay, go get that wheelchair.
Quickly, the motorized one. The motorized one, yes. It's Al Sharpton.
Oh, Did you know?
Yeah, he's young. He's 68 years
He's
old.
68.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
I thought he was much older.
Yeah, me too. You look good.
Oh, my.
Did you know that I seen somebody that posted that Jesse Jackson filed for his it's the file for his American Indian status. He a $5 Indian.
I need to be filing for mine.
I mean, they ain't gonna give everybody money but the people who ass they beat. I mean, for real though. But
after all this time.
Okay, but all jokes aside on this topic right here, all jokes aside is us as black folks need to realize this right here is that we are losers of war. And since we are losers of war, this is the situation that we in because we are losers of war.
Elaborate.
Okay. Well,
the war.
Well.
I know what I have in my mind.
The war
mm-hmm.
is now the war. Well, I'll say this: the war that we're fighting as black people is within ourselves, and the reason why it's within ourselves is because we got all the resources, we got all the tools, the blueprint have been laid. We got all these scholars that have already told us what to do. Our biggest problem is, outside everything else, our biggest problem is that our men refuse to be the men that we supposed to be.
On a large scale.
On a large scale, absolutely.
It's ironic that you said that because I think of a conversation, Corey Holcomb, the comedian.
Mm-hmm.
This is all around the Kyrie Irving thing. Mm-hmm. He's right, what you're saying, that war. Because he talked about Shaq.
Yeah.
And my guy, Shaq.
They being exposed for being the traitors.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm not surprised about, what's the big fella name? Charles Barkley.
Yeah, Charles Barkley, of course. Yeah.
But my guy is him, and he has his own
Shannon Sharp.
Yes, I was shocked, and then I think you and I talked about it, and Corey Holcomb said it. You don't have nothing to lose. There's nothing for you to lose, and it's easy. And it was a matter of fact, it wasn't Corey, it was somebody else that said it's easy to talk about getting shot, but when you really have something to lose, you quiet.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
and you know, I never thought about that until now because it never happened before. Now that it's really an issue. And then Shaq, you speak badly about this young man. You're going to call him an idiot, but the movie being played in the places that you own. You haven't even seen the movie. And LeBron, why would you even talk about it and you don't know enough to talk about it? I mean, there are some times when you just say, well, you know, really, I'm not well-versed on this right now, so I have nothing to say. But you're absolutely right. And that's a perfect example. Either stand by him or say nothing. You don't do each other in like that.
I mean, I just sit back and
Kyrie is right, and they better be careful. Because now they're messing with your... you can't talk like y'all three. You grown men. That's what he did. As a matter of fact, he didn't do anything wrong. Number two, I don't see anybody calling out Jeff Bezos. Number three, where is that? He did not misrepresent anything with the NBA and character is concerned. Where's what he did in the book? Now the man can't talk. All he did was post something. It's not a naked girl. It's not cursing. It's not to anybody in particular or in general. If I'm not mistaken, I have that book, the actual book. Hebrews to Negroes, Negroes to Hebrews. If I'm not mistaken, I have that actual book.
Okay. These Negroes, this tells you right here how cowardice that they all are. What's a bigger issue right now with y'all players? Kyrie or these people that be spitting on y'all, calling y'all all kind of niggas, doing all of this? What's more important? As we see what's more important.
And this is a distraction. And that's another thing I think was Corey Holcomb that said, have you ever noticed that anytime Kanye come up with something, They focus on that. So what else is going on while they focusing on this over here? It's always something for a distraction.
I keep telling
To
people
keep you from paying attention to what's really going on. Kyrie has not done. Matter of fact, nobody would know anything about it if they wasn't talking about it.
Exactly.
It's kind of like with Clinton. I wouldn't have known he was messing with the girl if you hadn't told me. So who really did something bad? Who was really making a marring the United States? It wasn't him. It was you. You told it. I didn't know about it.
They bring it all. They always bring it to your attention. Okay, for two reasons: because they want to bring attention to the issue and attention to the issue that they want to sell.
Look, Corey Holcomb said it. Bottom line, they want him to make him. They want him to say, I am sorry. I apologize. And like Corey Holcomb said, they want to say, I say it, nigga. Say it. I said it before. It's a Toby Kunta Kinte issue.
No doubt.
And my name is not Toby.
No, I mean,
but he said it right. How can I be anti-Semitic if I know who I am? And if nobody ever talks about what the definition says. Nobody.
And you got.
And they asking him questions. My thing is, so tell me what you know. Tell me your definition. Wait, do you know what the definition is?
I mean, the thing of it is that when you accept anything that somebody tell you, it's just like nobody never question again is, what makes me anti-Semitic? Nobody has never asked that question.
Yep.
What makes somebody anti-Semitic? Because according to your dictionary, your religious text, it's a language.
Not only that, scripturally, they not even the real Jews.
But see,
I'm just saying.
Here's the thing about that. What's messed up about that conversation is we want to take claim for saying we the original Jews.
I didn't say that. I just said they weren't.
But we don't want to take claim for saying that we the original Jews that also slowed us into slavery.
Absolutely. Yeah. But it's the truth.
But it's the truth.
Yeah. You can't point your finger without forgetting the 3 pointing back at you.
Absolutely.
So you can't just holler at what somebody else did.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about what we did.
Let's talk about what we absolutely.
Now, even though there's some truth to the slavery part. However, it started off being something else because they were lied to.
Yes, absolutely.
And then it was all about, well, I'm going to make some money. And then in some cases, their lives were threatened if they didn't do it. But on the other hand, there were some who were willingly involved in getting that money.
No, there's no doubt about it. There is no doubt.
It is what it is.
Well, let's look at it like this. And this is what I had to understand about that is the very same people that sent us over here are the very same ones today that these are resorts for us. Come look at where your people came from. These are resorts now. We paying them to show us what they did.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
How sick is we?
Very.
And when I bring that to people, I said not to go over there, but I'm just saying, but just think about that. And they be like, oh, wow, I ain't have to. Of course you didn't. Because you want to go back to your homeland that you don't even know. These people told you this. How you know you from there?
I feel exactly the same way. That's why I agree with Whoopi Goldberg. I'm an American and I happen to be black. Or I'm black and I'm an American.
I don't know. How do I know? How can we sit up here and say, these books that we read and all this and this and this and this, that this is the truth? We can't say that it's fake news on the news, that we just seen a fake story, and then say history is for real. And we wasn't there. I wasn't back in Horus and Egyptian days. So how in the fuck would I know if they really built them pyramids? I'm speculating like you is. Off of a book a nigga wrote, and I don't even know.
For me, I know the one book I believe because I read it and study it. But I do believe all of us ain't from over there.
We ain't.
All I gotta do is look in the mirror.
We don't look like Ethiopians. We don't look like Somalians. We don't look like no motherfucking Nigerians. We
don't
don't
look like an Egyptian.
No,
Yeah?
I didn't
Yes, you
say
do.
Egyptians. I said Ethiopians
Oh, I'm sorry.
and
My bad. Oh, I'm
Somalians.
sorry. But you do look like an Egyptian, though.
We don't look like no damn Ethiopians or no
I
Somalians.
don't. No, I don't. I don't like nobody over there.
Seriously.
I don't. And I know I don't.
Moroccans, you don't look like them.
Nope.
You don't look like the people in the Benin. You don't look like none of them people.
I don't.
Seriously.
I might do better trying to be an Aborigine from Australia.
Yes. To be honest,
I'm just saying.
I mean, for real. I mean, they've been pumping that after Africa movement. It's like, okay, we pumping the movement to go back to Africa, and half them people don't even like us.
And now, when it was really being an issue with Marcus Garvey, I would say it's more validity to it then
than now.
Yeah. Because they were first generation out of slavery.
Mm-hmm.
So it was some truth to what they were trying to do. More so than several generations later. Because even first generation after slavery, some of them, well...
Exactly.
Just saying.
Because...
It'd been a whole lot of thing going on.
How will my name become Murphy?
The person that owned somebody, their name was Murphy.
Every time when I look up Murphy, a shield crest comes up, and it always tells me pretty much the same thing. It's a masculine name. Irish Celt. Which you get off into Freemasonry and all this old stuff. Yes, but that takes me to Murphy, possibly Moors.
Yeah. Mine is not colorful like that at all.
I ain't saying it's colorful. I'm just, as I get older and me able to look at things and say, oh, okay, let's, based upon this and, possibly that this could be.
Well, like I said.
But again, it's we don't know.
The only African American that I ever knew was President Obama.
He's the real true African American.
He's a really African American.
He's a true African American. That shit Jesse Jackson created, that ain't us.
But that also shows confusion. You're colored, you're Negro, you're Afro-American, you're African-American, you're black. I like to color it myself. It kind of fit.
Yeah, so it just keeps...
Now, which color would you like? We got them all.
Yeah, it's funny, too. I remember just being out when I was in Arizona, and I was having these white people was going on and on about President Obama. It was real funny. And, of course, they asked my opinion, right? They didn't realize that I ain't like the rest of these clowns out here. I'm my own person, right? So they asked me, I said, well, to be honest with you, I said, President Obama really ain't got nothing in common with me. I said, he comes from a white woman and a African. I said, so what does that have to do with me? I said his grandparents raised him primarily all the time. He ain't got nothing in common with me. I said, my people come from the streets of Detroit, the Buck Woods of Mississippi, niggas running the streets, gang banging. What he got to do with me? I said he got more. I said he got more relationship with y'all than he do me. He came from a white woman.
That's true.
One of the white women said, "Wow, Clarence, I never looked at it like that." I said, "How could you not? He come from a white woman."
Yep, and raised by his white grandparents.
Raised by his white grandparents. I said, you never hear him talking about having to struggle during the civil rights movement, his people getting water holes and shit, bit on dogs. I said, what world is y'all living in? They looking at me like, damn, he's actually talking to us like that. Yeah, I ain't afraid of y'all.
But the truth is, it is.
Seriously. What world is y'all living in?
He didn't even understand none of that until he became an adult. And that's when he had a few experiences.
Exactly. And if he wouldn't have got that in depth if he didn't have a black woman as a wife.
That's right. And even just before that, when he didn't really have anything and was going to school, that's when he experienced some of that. Or when his grandmother made a comment about a nigga.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And he was like, wait a minute, what?
Exactly.
Ain't I that?
Exactly. You know, so, well, yeah, we, you know, I'm in a zone now. I want to really talk to young men, and I want to ask you this as before I go into that, and this is about the young men. I seen the article of a 10-year-old who has to do, is it 6 months? It's either 3 months or 6 months in jail for, wait for it, inappropriately touching his counselor. He gave the counselor a hug. A little black boy gave the counselor a hug, and she said he tried to touch her breast inappropriately.
So where are the people helping him? Why would he be in jail? Because that ain't nothing but a setup for destruction.
That's all it is. That's the first thing I said when I seen that, was like, what would make this woman want to destroy this little boy's life?
Because he a black little boy. But see, that's why I have a problem with parents telling their kids to fear anything. Fear the police. No, that's what got the kid killed because he ran.
Exactly.
You don't tell them to fear. You tell them the truth about the possibilities of what can happen. You don't ever tell your child to fear anybody.
No, you tell
one of the greatest things in the movies that I ever saw was when Kunta Kinte was born and his father held him up to the sky and said, "Behold, the only thing greater than yourself." That's why you ain't got no business fearing nothing that walk the streets like you do with two legs. You don't fear anything. What you do is you have information and knowledge and utilize it with wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't fear anything. Fear means you're not thinking. Fear will get you killed.
Exactly.
Fear will make you think wrong and do something that you should not be doing. You don't teach your children to fear. That's so, that's dangerous. You don't tell them, oh, the police come. They get nervous and shaking and they do the wrong. Versus, now, that young man, Charleston White,
mm-hmm.
he told him right. You cut that thing on, you cut the light on in the top, and, you know, everybody put their hands up. He was telling the truth. I may not agree with everything that man said, but that was what you're supposed to do. But first of all, avoid trying to cause a problem. Anybody need to stop you. But sometimes you're a young black man. You don't have to be doing anything wrong. You can be doing everything right, but never, ever, under any circumstances, for any reason, fear or show fear.
I tell them it's just this simple. And don't be afraid to tell the officers this. I want to make it home just like you do.
Yes.
Do not be afraid to tell them that. I want to make it home just like you do. So just in case, in his mind, he want to do some ratchet shit, you going to always be in his fucking head. Like, damn, he did say he just wanted to make it home.
And I suggest if it's more than one of y'all, somebody get a camera out.
Seriously.
If the very thing you can do is get a recording of nothing else. But these young kids know how to flick. Because I think that everybody needs to put a camera in their car.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, you need a dash cam just like they do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. In this day and age, because a fool will cut you off and then want to shoot you because he cut you off.
Yes.
You in the slow lane driving the speed limit and they mad.
Yes.
I literally had this woman get mad. When I'm driving the speed limit, I'm doing 55 in the slow lane.
So if you're in a hurry, you should move over 1-2 lanes.
She came flying up behind me, hopped over, blew her horn, gave me the finger, and took off. Because I'm driving the speed limit in the slow lane.
Ignorance. That's no different than when you have your turn signal on, or the directional indicator. When you have your directional indicator on and you're in the lane to get over, and this other person, they won't let you over and they fly in front of you, then they get over where you getting from. You know how stupid that is? And how dangerous that is.
Or drive fast.
You're supposed to move over like this.
Or drive fast enough so you can't get over and then drive the same speed you drive.
Yes. It's like, really? For real? This is what we doing now?
Yes, this is where your head is at.
Almost trying to run you off.
Yes, this is where your head is at. So you gonna not, you see, I just want to get over. I ain't just say, I'm letting you know I want to get over. Yeah, but
I had that happen just the other day. Matter of fact, I cut my turn signal on and doing what you're supposed to be doing. Look, turn signal on, look, and you speed up.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, really?
I'm in Dearborn, and these Arab women, I used to say the Asian women was the worst. No, these Arab women, I'm in there. They
Cannot drive.
they drive. You know how when you see them and they be very timid and humble behind their man, they drive the exact same way. Imagine that in a Benz now, driving like that in a Benz.
Amazing.
BMW trucks. This is what they be driving now. Can't drive a lick. Just
Not at all.
I mean, just
they need a crusher car.
petrified in a new car, brand new foreign whip now. Scared to get out in traffic. Get out in traffic and
But
then
they also afraid
drive.
for something happened to that car too.
And then
what happens when they get home?
Oh boy, you can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, get out in traffic and drive slow. I mean, just do it. Just be like, wow, for real. And I bet you, you was able to get your driver's license quicker than I was.
Well, let me see. Being from down south, I've been driving since I was 15. But you got kids living on farm and driving since they were 9.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember in the news when a little kid took his daddy? His daddy was drunk and he
went to go to the store.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. When got bought candy and shit. Drove to the store. They sitting up there wondering who driving the car, and he driving the car.
And wasn't doing bad either.
He took the keys and drove himself to the store now. Wow. 10 years old. He can't even see over the dashboard.
But he got where he needed to be.
Can't even see.
Because they didn't stop him until he was on his way back home.
Yeah. Didn't see nobody driving the car. But that reminds me of my cousin, real nutcase. Real nutcase. I had one of them old Malibus, about a 78 or something, and it had the front seat was all one seat.
Yeah.
The whole thing, right? This clown ass nigga. Let me see your car. I want to go to the store. Cool, bring me something back. He come back flying up the street, driving my car on the passenger side.
Oh my God.
I ain't done. I'm ready to go home. I'm trying to figure out what's taking him so long, right? After he done came back flying up and down the street, he done got pulled over by the police. Guess what he tells the police? Y'all ain't see that nigga get out and run?
Woo, but he in the passenger seat.
Yeah. They looking at him like...
And he fast on his feet. What can you say?
Hold on. Did somebody get out the car? And he's just sitting there in the driver's in the passenger seat. He's sitting there. This shit is hilarious.
Yes, it is.
This shit is hilarious now. It's for real.
It made them think, wait a minute, what?
Yeah.
Because he over here for some reason, isn't he?
He's straight sitting there like he ain't doing like I told you, that nigga took off. Shit was hilarious.
And they believed him too.
Yes. Dumbass cops. You ain't got to be nothing but a 3 on the scale of 1 to 10 to be a cop though, so, you know.
That was funny. Hey, you do what you gotta do.
I'm telling you, I would love to have him talk about being at Camp Wonderful. Have you ever heard of Camp Wonderful? No. You in the penal system and you ain't never heard of Camp Wonderful? Oh my God. This man was telling me about Camp Wonderful. And the way he was describing it, it was wonderful. Could you imagine being in the penitentiary in a place called Camp Wonderful? This is where you're locked up at. After a while, it got to be about 10, 15 dudes over there, right? And they got to talking about all their wonderful stories at Camp Wonderful. I started getting pissed, right? Because I'm the only nigga getting up going to work every day. I'm sitting here saying, I'm getting up going to work every day for you Negroes to enjoy
Camp
Wonderful. I'm talking about they telling all these beautiful stories and shit about me. I had my first child when I was up there. I was up there hustling. They can leave the grounds, go have sex, all this, nah.
But y'all make them come back. Now you got somewhere to sleep, somewhere to eat. Got your own apartment. Well, that's similar to what happened to some of the big mobsters when they go to club.
Yes.
They be eating steak and lobster.
My cousin work in the kitchen, so imagine what he hustling, all the good stuff come in, he's selling it. He get the guard straight, get them they stuff, rest of the stuff he's selling it now. So now he getting cool with everybody, the mob people, everybody is at the behest of him. He get to go to the store, get wine, all. This is what these niggas is telling. And I'm getting up going to work every fucking day, paying taxes, and these Negroes is telling me about
Well, just think
Wonderful.
about this, though. You getting up and going to work every day, and they tell you about Camp Wonderful, but if things go wrong for you, you can't go to social services and get nothing.
True that.
Now, think about that.
True
I
that.
ain't mad about the prison part. That pisses me off about the social service part when you really need something, you can't get it, and you've been paying taxes for 30, 40 years.
And true that, because now that's how deep I have a home health care client, and I took her to Social Security office one day. They had some Arabs that was in there that was fresh off the camels, still had sand in their motherfucking sandals, right? Demanding they SSI.
Heck, no.
And mad because they had to fill out more paperwork to get the shit. While me and her sitting in here 5 hours for them to spend 7 minutes with her.
That's so
And
sad.
these motherfuckers was still standing their toes.
Look, and not only that, they're gonna open up a business and get 7 years no taxes, and then the brother's gonna open up the same business and get 7 more years. They can actually, depending on how many sons they have, end up with no taxes for almost 3 or 4 decades.
I'm in Dearborn Fresh. Is the store out there? One of the Arab stores out there. I'm in Dearborn Fresh. Arab come in there, whatever he was buying, he didn't have enough on the EBT card. He gave the woman the EBT card. He didn't have enough on there. This motherfucker pulled out a wad big enough to choke a whale.
And paid the rest in
And
cash.
paid the rest in cash. I sat there and looked and said, they just cut this woman off over 25 funky ass dollars. And here this I mean, I'm sitting here actually looking at this like,
Well, see,
wow.
but that's what they said about Brett Favre. Here it is, he's done all this deliberate, illegal money transaction, getting funds from people that need it, but yet still here, a woman, a couple of $25 or $400, they want to put her in prison. But he stole the very money all of them need. But you ain't talking. Nobody's talking about Brett Favre. You know why? They too busy talking about Neil Long's old man and Kyrie Irving. Again, a distraction. Why we not talking about that? Because what Brett Favre did was way worse than all the stuff they talking about.
Brett Favre ain't sexy. Everything else is sexy. Uga Medaka or whatever the fuck his name is. Him and me alone, that's sexy. But in reality, who give a fuck about them old ass people?
That's not news to me.
I mean, really, who cares?
But if you notice, everything that comes up get 1 billion times more attention than what Brett Favre has done.
I mean,
because they don't want you to think about that. That's why they mess with Yee. That's why they messing with Kyrie. That's why, and see, even the thing with Neil Long and that guy, they don't talk about that anymore. That's gone. Now the whole attention is on Kyrie. They're not even talking about Yee too much anymore. But Yee really got them where he wanted to get out his contracts, and he made them do exactly what he wanted to do. He did. Yee got out of his contracts. That's what he was trying to do. They wouldn't let him out. So he said and did things that made them put him out at the very thing he wanted. Now, Kyrie is all the attention now. But everybody forgetting about Brett. I'm just saying.
Brett Favre is see,
Well, he should be in prison.
No doubt. But
if that was Dion, he'd be already locked up.
But we have to. That's what they expect from each other. We gonna be we as wealthy people. We don't want to spend our money. We want to beat the poor out of theirs, take from them, and then blame them for being poor.
What Martin say? How you gonna pull up by your bootstrap if you don't have the boots?
I mean, they act again. That's my question to as far as that concern is please tell me any act that white people ain't benefited from. I'll wait.
Oh, you don't have to wait.
So when they be talking that, you know what I'm saying, and me personally, I done got past it because I understand we the spoils of war. So anytime you're losing, you done lost. This is what's going on. So again, it's just up to us to get. They not gonna take their foot off our neck.
Do you know we could get them not only their foot off our neck, but anything we want? Stop spending money for 24 hours. Stop spending money for 72 hours outside of a black-owned business. You'll shut it down, babe. If you can get you're reaching for the wrong thing. You don't have to march. You don't have to have no signs. If you were going to do that, do what Malcolm did, and everybody come out with tape over their mouth and nobody make a sound. Now what? But quit spending money. Quit spending money for 48 hours. Quit spending money for 72 hours. Don't spend money for a week.
Cut your culture off. Stop giving it to them for free. Make them pay for it like you pay for Chinese food, like you have to pay for Italian food, like you got to pay for everything else. Stop giving your culture away for free.
Absolutely.
Period. We see a white person do a half-ass, learn how to do something that we've been doing since childbirth. Now we want to invite them to the picnic.
How about better look up what picnic mean?
Fuck them. I mean, for real. Worry about yourself.
All the time and first. Again, I say, stop spending money. If all we did was spend money amongst ourselves, and if you did that, this is what we want. Just like with the buses. This is what we want, and we want it this time, and we want it this way. Period. That's the only time I'm going to ask you. If you don't give it to us, we're going to shut this down.
I ask people all
You
the
have
time.
less than 24 hours. I asked you, get it. Next day, no money transactions. Next day, no money transactions. Keep not doing it.
I ask people this all the time. What's going to really make a big difference? You standing in line, pushing the goddamn thing in the hole saying I voted, or you staying at home saying I'm not going to spend no money today, and that's my vote. Which one is going to be more effective?
If we all did it, staying at home and not spending no money.
And not spending no money. You'll collapse this motherfucker.
Yeah.
That's all.
Because we are the consumers.
We are the consumers.
We are taught to be consumers.
We the consumers, and we create everything for others to consume.
Yep. If we don't create it, we are serious influencers.
We're serious influence in it. Serious influence in it. Black men create it, and white and black women just enhance it. And this is the logic that they see that we don't see.
And it's costing us big time.
And it's costing us big time.
It is.
You know, again, a great example of what I just said is, without Kool Herc and without his sister, there's no hip-hop.
Yes.
Without what she told him to do, her thought process of, this could make it better. Because he didn't see that. He just DJing and shit. She didn't see she the one who seen microphone. She seen all of that.
And as you say, not only did we give it away for free, but we allowed somebody else to
determine
what it is.
To determine.
Because it started off as, let me tell you what's really going on, and let me tell you what needs to be done to fix it.
As I always tell people, if you look at them NWA first interviews, them young men always said, we reality rap. We rap about what's going on in our neighborhood. They never called themselves gangster rap. They always said we were reality rap.
Yep.
We listened to the psychopath and called it gangster rap. So now we want to be gangster rap. No, what about it? Just what it is? It's reality. But they want to label y'all gangsters instead of saying this is what actually caused this reality rap. So we want to avoid the fact that this is what caused this reality rap and just say you niggas is gangsters.
Yep. It's funny you said that. Listening to a Bible class today, it talked about Judas and his betrayal of Christ. But there's a part in it where he has the bag, the 16 pieces of silver. Go get that bag. They don't even know where they get that from.
They don't know where they get it from.
They're buying they are carrying around their own betrayal. Because they got that bag. Go get that bag. Go get that bag. Go get that bag. You jump on the stuff and you use things without considering, well, where did it come from?
The context, absolutely. Absolutely.
Get the bag.
Absolutely. And then instead of saying, let me create my bag, we're going to chase and go get a bag. You know, that's something else. We always want to, you know, we don't, we just got a lot of work to do, pretty much, you know. And the crazy part about it is, the work that we talking about we got to do should have been done.
Yes. But again, I'll say this too. That's a true statement. But again, media makes things look worse than what they are.
I'll agree with that.
Herschel Walker is not the mask, thank God.
And everybody, and see, and the problem what it is it just shows you the thought process of the others, because here's a man who clearly
has CTE.
Clearly then had multiple concussions playing a sport. And I put this on,
and he played it back before they started changing things.
Played this sport, and you know where in his game, the way he plays is collisions. Mm-hmm. He runs into people, mm-hmm. Okay? He's not a dumb run past you, run over, try to jump. No, I'm big, strong, fast. I'm just going to run over your ass. Mm-hmm. So he's collision orientated. Mm-hmm. So you're going to sit up here and tell me that you fine with having a man who we know for a fact and had multiple concussions, sitting up here talking about werewolves beat dragons
and vampires. Yeah, what is he talking about? But this goes back. They don't care. I mean, he tells blatant lies. It's daytime outside. Oh, but it's night.
Yeah,
that's how blatant the lies are. And this is what you will vote for. But see, to me, that speaks volume of the people that vote.
That's all I'm going.
Because it ain't us voting.
That's all I'm going as that speaks volume for them people.
Yeah,
is that this is the level of desperation that they have
just to get somebody
that you there. Have to go
and
look,
get. Don't fool around and get tricked.
You have to
he
go
doing
get
what you tell him to do now, but he get up in there and be like, no, that ain't what I want to do. Now what you gonna do?
And his chip go bad. Okay, let's say his chip go bad. That's default what he on right now. Okay, but his chip go bad, and he go back to his old grandma, his old grandfather, who really don't like white people, but then had to deal with them his whole life. So now, what if that chip activate?
Got a problem.
They got a serious problem.
And when I say CTE, I'm serious about that.
Yes.
And that's unpredictable.
I just told you this
you
man's
pat him
game.
Down every time he comes.
I just told you this man's game was based on collisions, okay? He wasn't avoiding nobody. He running into him. So he running this helmet first, leg first, knee first, gut first, whatever, okay?
And I said, I hope he doesn't win, but unfortunately, there's a runoff in December.
Yep.
And I believe he's going to be the biggest regret that they ever had. You're being disrespectful in the stereotype. After having Obama around so long. Now, this is the kind of person you want to be a stereotype where we are concerned, as our black men are concerned. But I sincerely believe that if he was to become a senator, they would regret it on levels unbeknownst to them at this time. Because I don't think it's going to work out the way they think it's going to. You're not going to be able to control him.
I
He'll
think
be worse than Trump.
I think they'll be able to control it because he's not that smart. See, Trump was a businessman, so Trump.
But you don't know who else behind Herschel Walker. I don't think so.
Herschel ain't that smart. I don't see it.
He doesn't have to be. He doesn't have to be.
His handlers, he already got them. They already got them handlers. They the ones who pushing him.
If you got CTE, it's not gonna be what you think it is unless they putting drugs or something in him.
There you go, right there.
It's not gonna work.
The
drugs ain't working. If you listen to some of his speeches, the drugs are not working.
They are working.
Oh no,
they are working.
I think he's gonna. Number one, I don't think he's gonna win. Number two, I consider the fact that if he does, I just don't believe it's gonna work out like they think it's going to. Because it's almost like just like they thought they had control of the other one.
Well, look at Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's who I see him as. That's who I see them trying to pretend him to be. Not in it because Arnold had a little bit of dignity. He had a little bit of dignity. Okay. A little bit of dignity. Okay. That's what I'm saying. Cause he at home with his nonsense.
Yeah.
Okay. A little bit of dignity. Okay, this man here, his son had already exposed him that, man, I don't know, you don't know none of your kids, you barely know me, you didn't get, you be lying and shit. I mean, his son came out here and called him everything but daddy. Okay? Now, they gonna try to do him because they looking at the demeanor and sports athlete. They trying to model that Arnold Schwarzenegger. But Arnold Schwarzenegger had Maria Shriver, and her people done been in the game forever and a day. So she know the game. This nigga here, come on now.
Different game.
Come on now.
Again.
Collision based.
I still say it's gonna, I believe it's going to backfire. Before it's all said and done, that's going to be an implosion.
I mean,
I think it's seriously something wrong with him.
It is something wrong with him.
I don't think he was very bright now, under normal circumstances. And now you have being impacted by something they really can't prove until he dies.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to definitely agree that this man definitely is something wrong with him. No doubt about it.
But I believe because he was probably deficient anyway prior to this, that his is worse.
Yeah, well, I mean, you see,
I think those who are less intellectually or intelligently challenged, I think theirs are the ones that get real bad with the killing and the shooting. But him, I believe it's going to be a little bit worse of controlling him, because I think as time goes on, it can't get nothing but worse.
Herschel Walker ain't never been the best verbalist anyway. So he's always been, that country boy, that big country boy like that. So, and now you've just seen that the education really didn't mean anything.
Well, it's evident they just let him fly through
because
he did what he did on the field.
Absolutely, and you can see that's what I'm saying. You see that the education didn't mean anything.
Well, I don't think it could have helped.
It didn't mean anything. It meant nothing. It just when you went to play football.
That's what he did.
That's all you did. Went to play football.
Just to get in the NFL.
Because a man who has a college degree ain't gonna be up there talking about werewolves
and vampires. And which one can beat the other?
Exactly. And you supposed to be talking about what you gonna do for the people of Georgia.
He's gonna beat the vampires up. He's gonna help the werewolf.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, because he sure did. I sat there and watched. I said, wow, for real, this is. I said, this is who they gonna go out and stand in line and vote for? But see, you never see them showing Republicans standing in line. Why is that? Why is that? Every time they pan, the people standing in line is always Democrats.
Of course, but who runs the media?
It's always Democrats.
Who runs the media?
I find that very it's something. Every time I always ask that question. Nobody has an answer. Why is it always they never pan to Republicans?
My only thing would be is that's the media. That's who runs the media, and they're not watching them. They trying to give excuses to call us those who vote the opposite way or who vote Democratic, trying to give reason to state that it's fraud going on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's the direct attention. The Democrats are the ones doing all the cheating. That's why we got to have all the cameras and shit.
Them,
yeah, exactly. The people
so
don't.
Any one minute little
anything.
It could be 1 out of 3 trillion.
Anything. We seen
and
that.
All of it's bad.
We seen that little old lady talking to the person who voted in the booth, and the person on the booth touched her ballot by accident. All of them ain't no good. We told you Democrats be trying to steal. That's why we need cameras in there.
But yet still, there are no cameras on them because who runs the media? Whoever runs the media, as Malcolm X once said, whoever runs the media runs the world.
But see, Democrats go for this stuff. The people that's in charge of the Democratic Party, they go for this stuff. You go for
what you're part of, too.
That's exactly where I'm going.
It is what it is.
That's exactly where I'm going. Because if you wasn't cool with any of this, you wouldn't agree to it. Because I understand this, and this is what I heard a politician says. Silence is consent.
Absolutely.
So this is what they say.
It is.
So I'm going off their words. So anytime you silent about something, that means you cool with
the program. Now, but if you don't run the media, are you silent, or they just not talking about your part?
They're not talking about your part. Well, it
so
ain't.
Are you truly
not,
silent?
Well, here's the thing. We in a day and age whereas we got all these different forms of media, so that's
but still
different.
The media is ran by the same people all over. And every now and then,
I'm not disputing that.
Every now and then, now if you're on Facebook, you might see some stuff. You're on Instagram, you're on TikTok, you might see some things.
Now they don't put it on TikTok because that's what if you pay attention to the news, every time you watch the news, we got this clip from TikTok. Now how in the fuck is a Chinese app, okay? Hear me out on this. This is a Chinese app that's taking all the people's data information. I just seen a video clip on this yesterday, taking all of the people's data. A Chinese app, but it's the app that they always go to when they talking about news.
And did you also see that the algorithms for the Chinese version of it
is different?
It's way different.
Yes.
It's all about learning.
Yes.
It cuts off at a certain time.
Yes.
So you're not just stuck up in it all the time. Matter of fact, it has time limits on how it works. And they just send the BS over here to America.
They promote them damn challenges for us. This is what they promote. They always say that. I seen that too. They say they promote the challenges. And that's all you see is motherfuckers our age out there looking stupid trying to dance with these young people. Yep. Looking stupid.
Car moving and you out there trying to dance and run over. I mean, but it's a lot of stuff they do over there. But the algorithm for China is learning.
Yeah.
Learning and growth.
Exactly.
And the algorithm for us is food and stupid. Pretty much. I mean, really, in a nutshell, that's what it is. How big a fool can I see them be?
China, you got such a beef with China. You're going to let this company come in here, bring an application, extract all the data.
Of course, if you're part of the game. Of course.
And then complain about them. But don't do nothing about it, but you're going to complain.
Well, I got to make it look good.
This pandemic has got me.
I don't like that folks allow their kids to do it. If you want your kids to, okay, fine. You can't do it Monday through Friday. And you get 3 hours on the weekend.
I mean, really. It's called moderation.
And they don't do that. That nobody polices the kids from doing that. And sometimes you might want to police the kid because of your connection to the child. But if nobody else sees what you see, it's a waste of your time.
You only got X amount of minutes anyway.
Even if you have them every day, it's still a waste of your time if it's not being enforced. I tell people, when you know more than God, that's first evidence you stupid. I'm just saying. And it is. You can't see the, and then they talk about it on the news. This is what you're putting in your kid's head. This is what you're allowing to run your child.
Yep.
That's why they're going to whoop your ass later on.
Exactly.
And that's why what you say won't mean a thing later
Exactly.
on. But can't no one tell you that.
Yep.
And then you're destroying your own kid.
Exactly.
And you don't even understand the words that somebody else is trying to explain to you. If nothing else, your parents got life over you because they've been here longer than you. They might not know all the TikTok slang, language and stuff, but they know consequences way better than you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And if you so bent out of shape, so disrespectful, so rebellious that can't nobody tell you anything, you the fool, and then you want some other fools after you because that's what you're allowing your kids to be. Instead of having them read a book.
I told my nephew this one day. We was talking, and I said, everything I'm sitting here telling you, you infuriated. I said, you think you smarter than me, don't you? He started laughing. I said, this is what y'all generation. I said, but I get it. I said, yeah, we all have access to the same information. I said, but here's the thing is, I've had access to it for 52 years. How long have you had access to it? I says, and the one thing that I have to offer you, you don't even want. I says, if I had the money to give you, to assist you in your projects, you would have it already. I says, but the one thing that I have to give you is my advice. You don't even want it. I said, and the reason why you don't want it is because I ain't got no money to give you.
That's it. That's all.
Oh, it ain't like that, huh? I said, why is it then? Help me understand. I'm stupid. Now you want to start laughing.
To distract from the question I asked you.
Exactly, to distract.
No, boo-boo, go ahead and inquire.
Yeah, now you don't know, but see, because now I'm hitting you where ain't nobody never hit you with this. And I'm being logical. I ain't upset getting you. No, we ain't about to be sitting up here.
But it's the truth, though. It's the truth.
It is.
You know what you know, but my life alone puts me ahead of you. Been there, done that, seen that. There's nothing new under the sun.
Nothing.
There's all, okay, we got computers now. Understand what a computer is first. There have been forms of it prior to it actually being an electronic instrument.
That's all you are.
Understand the history of the Egyptians and then come back and talk to me. I'm just saying.
That's all you are is
a computer.
They base everything off of the human body. Everything.
Consider that it's a bunch of information all in one place with easy access. You can go down to City Hall and find out the very same thing that you're looking up in this machine. For the most part. But that's all it is. It's a easy way to access information.
That's it.
It's a faster way to do formulas. It's a quicker, better way to do spreadsheets. So what are you talking about?
That's all it is. You're still doing the same thing.
They used to have a book called Britannica. Okay? So
Exactly.
That's why we know some of the stuff. And the other side of the coin is we actually read. You all don't read.
I tell them all I had an encyclopedia set.
Yes.
For real. I said, so I could go.
World Book Encyclopedia.
Wherever I want to be at that day, I can just go. I want to be in Europe. I go to E. I'm in Europe.
Yep.
You know, I mean,
Child book.
All of that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I even pulled up for my nephew, showing him Aesop's Fables. So y'all ain't
never heard of it. Didn't know what it was.
Blown away.
Especially if you showed him. Is it Aesop or the other ones? What's the other folks that did the things? Oh man. But they did the tales, and then when you find out the true story behind how violent the stories really are. I don't think it's Aesop Fables.
Yeah, because Aesop was
It's two brothers. I think it's two names. But when you read the stories, the actual stories, like the Three Pigs and Sleeping Beauty, they really violent stories. And
all of their stories are.
Yes, they're violent, murderous.
Oh.
And they changed them.
Yeah.
Ring Around the Roses. Listen to what they're really talking about. They talking about a room. I think it's rheumatoid. No, what's the? It's a fever.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the
Oh, what's the fever that song? It's a fever though.
one of the popular books, child books.
Maybe it is Aesop's.
It ain't documented, but it is documented. One of these child books, I can't think of what it is. Oh shit. It's he wrote the book after his friend's daughter, which he was infatuated with, and
Alice in Wonderland?
Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah. But they said the same thing about the guy that did, was it him I'm thinking about? Yeah, it was him. And I was thinking about the Winnie the Pooh guy.
Winnie the Pooh guy too.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. Yep.
But definitely that one.
Alice in Wonderland. Real pervert.
Yeah.
Real pervert.
And people don't, when you start really finding out what these stories really said. But they thought it was another one. I thought it was some brothers. A set of brothers. Oh, man, I hate when I can't remember things.
And this stuff be catered to children, and these but they be just as the ratchetest, nastiest. I was watching, and they had, and I ain't seen it since. They had on about sex, right? Documentary on sex. These people so savage. The reason why it's table covers is because they would masturbate on the table legs.
That's a bit much. Crazy. All day long, craziness.
We be indulging in stuff and had no idea what this stuff, just indulging in that pure ritual, satanic, just, oh my God.
Oh, the Grimm, the Brothers Grimm.
Oh, the Brothers Grimm, yeah. The Brothers, their stories are grim. Absolutely, yes.
Like I said, we don't even, we, again, don't look to find out stuff.
Yes.
But some of these stories, they're horrible.
Yeah, they are. You be saying to yourself, like, and we sitting up here making nursery rhymes out this shit.
And have no idea what you're talking about. No idea. Absolutely no idea.
I mean, for real, I was making nursery rhymes out this shit. If you was to really break a lot of this stuff down, you'll be surprised, like, oh my God, this is evil.
But yeah, it's violent. Brutal and violent with those things.
You look at a lot of that Disney stuff, you'll be amazed at, just the level of sex and things that they do in them Disneys.
This is what it says about the Cinderella story. It says the story ends with two doves swooping down and pecking out the eyes of the evil stepsisters as a punishment for their wickedness. And that's the real story.
Could you imagine what the Beauty and the Beast story actually is?
Nah.
Bestiality.
Yeah.
Get straight bestiality now. Could you imagine that? Wow. Getting you used to bestiality.
But that's what it is. But that's why I forgot the insurance company. Remember they had a commercial with the pig? Mm-hmm. And they had we ain't having this for that very reason. Bestiality. But it was the man, the pig and a woman. They were out somewhere. Yeah. They'll still play the one with him in the back seat of the car. They'll play that one. Yeah. But they don't play the one with him and that woman anymore. Mm-hmm. And that's a subtlety of Satan.
Yes.
That goes back to what you said from the very beginning.
Yes.
Satan running things.
Yes, absolutely.
And people don't even realize how subtle these things are until it's too late.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we coming up on, it's been 2 hours.
Yeah,
I
we
guess,
got a lot to say, and
yeah.
it's never too much, and we can do it. We are gonna do it again and keep it going.
Yeah, absolutely. This was fantastic. This was awesome. So, you got any last words you want to say before we put an end to this?
No, that I hope you always consider the things that are said. Always consider them, and we want you to read and go check the things out that we say. Read, and then I want you to have a beautiful evening and a wonderful tomorrow.
Thank you, family. Signing off for the day. This is Mr. Clay and Lady A at Dysfunctional Culture, and we'll talk to you guys later. Peace and blessings, and we love you.